What's the feeling there in Brussels about changes to the withdrawal agreement and about this idea of extending the exit process?
Well, essentially when it comes to the withdrawal agreement and making sure that that remains intact, I think you could safely say that diplomats and commissioners and various people within the EU institutions have augmented their position on not reopening the withdrawal agreement and maintaining the Irish backstop, which is of course the legally binding insurance policy to protect the border on the island of Ireland as per the Good Friday Agreement. I spoke to several diplomatic sources on Friday and throughout the weekend, and they pointed to what's happening in Westminster, the second defeat for Theresa May, which means that they have very little trust in her that she'll be able to command a majority for anything in Westminster, even if they were to reopen the backstop and reopen the withdrawal agreement. And they also point to the fact that because there's such a lack of trust and lack of faith in the political process in the UK, that actually exemplifies the reason for a backstop in the first place. So as you mentioned there, Belle, quite a bit of diplomatic activity taking place here in Brussels today. Steve Barclay, the Brexit Secretary, the Irish Foreign Minister, all meeting Michel Barnier, the EU's lead negotiator, and Theresa May expected to meet Jean-Claude Juncker at some point this week. But whether anything of substance will emerge is very questionable.
Well, I almost daren't ask you, Shona, with all of that activity happening today, do you expect any sort of dramatic breakthrough?
No, and specifically I think there's a few reasons for that. First of all, because the strategy of the British Prime Minister remains the same, which is to continuously look for alternative ranges to the backstop, which could be a time-limited backstop or a unilateral withdrawal process for the UK to the backstop, which means, as far as the EU is concerned, it won't be a backstop in the first place. So as long as these are the only suggestions coming from Theresa May, it means there will be an impasse and the impasse will continue. So that's one of the big problems here. And a second of all, of course, is the fact that the EU doesn't really trust that Theresa May can command a majority, because there isn't, in actual fact, consensus on what Brexit should look like in the UK. And thirdly, when you speak to a lot of diplomats here and officials, they also kind of point to the fact that they believe they're at cross purposes with Theresa May, because they believe that it's not actually the backstop is the problem at all, but the UK and Theresa May will say the problem is the backstop. So they're not really even on the same page when it comes to these two issues. And most people are telling me that it'll be a few weeks before there's any movement in any direction.